allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open it up to public comments. Media. Approval of the January 12th minutes. Can I get a motion? Doug motions.
Second.
Heather seconds.
I know. I'll try to fill her void.
Allen,
Yes.
Gideon,
Yes.
Plasmeyer,
Yes.
Shadle,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Wall,
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Okay. Ashley Park concession.
Ashley Park concession stand's coming along really nicely. I think we got some pictures maybe. You can get them up. There you go. They're hoping to start pouring concrete around the facility tomorrow morning. They're working on the forming up and stuff like that now. As you can see, the roof's completely on now, all the vinyl siding's up, the door for the concessions is in. The pads, we've started pouring pads for the golf, for the bleachers, and the posts are starting to be set. We got a couple more of those to go. There's just a picture of the early bathrooms. Obviously, they're not completed at that point. You can see the sheet rock's not done. It's painted now already and everything else. So next Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday, we should be really, really close to done, which is amazing considering we started after Thanksgiving, even the credit building. So very, very, these guys have been really good to work with and everything else. The only real hiccups in the whole process is you see the big boxes out there now. That was all beside the building in a smaller area. Unfortunately, the transformer that's inside that big box, the old one leaked, so we weren't able to use some of the old materials. So there's been some adjustments in the cost of the building because of some of the old stuff, and we knew some of that stuff when we took it out might not go back in. I mean, it was 1982, so sometimes it doesn't always work when you, once you take it out. It'd been leaking, they said it probably would have been changed anyway, so. Really neat, the lights when they hooked up the power to it, we flipped light switches on, all the ball field lights came on, all the scoreboards come on. That's always the scary part, like I said. You just never know about those wires that have been in the ground and everything else, things tend to come up, but really good. We moved the building a little bit farther away from the edge, so we should be in really good shape when they get done. So we're really looking forward to it. It's gonna be really a nice adjustment. I know that we've been out there a couple times for practice and stuff, and everybody's like, oh man, this is gonna be so nice when it's done, so can't wait. Any questions or concerns about it? It should be right on budget. Maybe just a little over because of the extra electric stuff that we had to, some of that stuff is pretty pricey.
Is there still gonna be, like an entry place for like picnic tables and things, like an awning type, or no?
No. There's the awning. The cost of that was just too much. We had to, when we did this value engineering to get it down where we got it under budget, that, to make that big enough in the front, like over at Nelson, it just doesn't, we found it never gets used. So there wasn't really any point spending the extra money.
And there is that little shelter right in
I was
front.
just gonna ask, because
This
that
one,
shelter is still there
We've
right
got
next
the
to
baby
it.
shelter
That
right
has
there
some
by it
picnic.
anyway, so there's plenty of space.
Are the shade structure, like the shade things coming in?
They're already here. We're
Like-
just waiting on a place to put them up.
That's,
Yeah, you
those
can-
are
you
two
can see
poles
the
that you can
poles.
see with like in
The poles are at Nelson too, right? Don't you already have poles
Yes.
set at Nelson? I
Yeah,
saw
yeah,
those,
those- yeah.
still just waiting on.
Yeah, those will go up. Yeah, we've just been waiting on the wind not blowing 400 miles an hour to be able to
Right.
put shelter covers over.
And just as a reminder of talking points about the benefits of this, it increased the toilet
Oh, yes.
capacity and fixed some plumbing issues, right?
Yes.
That was the main.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely, it will address a lot other than just the toilet issues. It also helps us serve better concessions. We've got a bigger area and a nicer area to be able to do stuff. And there, as you can see, we went from having one stool in the men, that's the men's, so went from having one stool and the same number of urinals to having two stools, and they'll work better. The women's now has 4 stools, and our issue wasn't above ground, all our issue was underneath. Didn't have enough volume. for
And
the
that
amount- for
obviously
the
is all
numbers we
new.
had Over the years, and they would just clog up.
And do we have a plan or contracts yet about like the, could, vending machines? Like the number of vending machines that you're not gonna,
We haven't done that yet. We're gonna stay with concessions, but we could do that if it becomes necessary.
you still have that overhang, didn't we have kind of
Yeah,
like an
yeah.
inset
Yeah, we'll
area
fix
for
it,
that? Okay. Okay.
That's lot number 2, that's where the basketball courts goes, is right where that grader's setting. And then there's the parking lot. As you can tell, they're starting to work on that. Leo is there. Was Leo there when you were there?
He was not there this morning
Okay.
when I got there.
Leo's been
'cause
there since he's
there's
there.
that.
The fence posts are going up around the pickleball court, so it'll be pretty close to be open. Probably won't let anybody, or probably won't open it, put the nets on it or anything until he's done with the parking lot. I really don't want people parking in there with him trying to put curb and gutter in and stepping over open holes and all the stuff that goes along with construction. So as soon as he's got that parking lot in a condition where we feel safe for people to be traversing through the,
What did you say was right behind, where the basketball?
that's basketball.
That
where
was
the-
basketball.
That's
Yeah,
right
basketball
there.
right there, yep.
Okay.
And we've got the nets and everything for that, everything ready for that. So as soon as he gets the asphalt, they're supposed to be asphalted tomorrow.
Is that a single net basketball or two?
It's dual, yeah. It's a little
One-
shorter than normal. Instead
Yeah.
of a full basketball court, they're about 90 feet. Somewhere between 92 and 98 feet long. Ours is 75. Most people don't want to run
Nope.
the extra 20 feet because that's just from circle to circle, basically. Time
We,
injuries.
and do we have an estimated start date for that bathroom facility? Do
No,
those guys?
not yet.
No.
Not yet.
Okay.
It's looking really good down there. The pickleball courts look beautiful. I'm really excited about
It's
it.
gonna be really neat. It's gonna be really neat. Yep, there's the pickleball. Yep, so that's all going, everything's right on budget, so we're good. Numbers are all good, money's all good.
Nets are here?
Nope, yeah, we're, the only thing we kind of overlooked was, and it wasn't really much of an overlook, was the basketball court. We were just gonna asphalt it and then paint white lines on it ourselves, but we called Perry to see what, get a bid on what it would cost to make it look like, kind of like that. Maybe you can put a big yellow jacket in the center. So we may come back to you with a little bit of a change order just to get that done.
I think so. I think that makes it look more of a complete, like it wasn't an afterthought.
Yes, I think so too.
You know,
Yep.
looks the same quality, high quality product as what your pickleball is.
Yeah.
Yeah, those extra touches do look, just make it, take the next step.
Yeah.
So it's
and
worth,
they-
it's worth
They were spending all
a
that
little bit
money
extra
and
money.
everything looked so good.
Right.
Right.
Let's make the basketball court match what the rest of
Yeah.
it is, I think too. And it's not gonna be crazy high. It won't be. They
Did
do
you guys
such a good
get the
job.
situation with the lights straightened out? I know you're having trouble
Finally,
with them.
yes, yeah, finally, the right
Okay.
adapters finally came in. We've got 2 of the poles up, and again, the wind got so bad
Yeah.
that we quit putting poles up that day, and every day it seems like the wind's blowing 30, 40 miles an hour, and
So you
it's
have
not-
2 more?
Yes, yeah, we got 2.
With
more
the
put up.
2 that go
On that side.
on
over
that
there.
side that, yeah, on the hillside over
Yeah,
there. The
just-
other 2 are up
Yeah,
already.
it's just not much fun to get up in that lift when the wind's blowing that hard and you got a pole, and we're about maxed out on our lift on top of that, so when it starts swaying, it's.
You gotta place that perfectly on the bolt stick.
Yeah.
There's no wiggle room.
Yeah,
It's,
So it gets a little exciting up there when the wind's blowing, so until the wind quits, we're kind of at hold up on that, but as soon as the wind will quit, we'll get those up and going. They're all wired and everything, so it's just a matter of setting them down, looking for 6 butt connectors together and turning them out.
Timeframe?
Probably waiting on Brennan, probably 2 to 3 weeks because of Brennan.
So end
Said I
of,
don't want,
probably end of April.
yeah, still, I thought if you'd have told me we'd have it done by May,
Yeah.
I'd probably bet you it didn't happen. So I'm really excited that it's going as fast as it is. I know that's what we were shooting for, but to be honest, through the winter and the rain and everything else, we've been doing.
Hard to keep a project on
Yeah.
schedule.
Well, and the asphalt plant didn't open until 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're really.
And these
struggling.
lights will be on the same timer as the Wallace?
Yep.
Same?
Same thing, in the basketball courts will have the same lighting and the same timer system.
And then the disc golf, there's like two holes impacted by this. Have they been,
Just one. Yeah, the long one that comes down from Church of the Nazarene along the woods.
uh-huh,
It used to be kind of in that corner, so it's just gonna shorten up by,
Good, because that's too long a hole for me.
it's gonna shorten by 50 feet or 75 feet.
But the one by the basketball court's not affected.
No, nope. No, that's over in between the trees. We saved the tree, and that's why we shortened the basketball court, because we didn't want to affect that tree that's down there. There's a nice big sycamore tree. And if we'd got a full side, the bigger court like we originally planned, would have probably got into the roots of that tree, and we didn't want to do that, so we backed it up just a little. And I think everybody would be happy the court's short anyway.
Yeah.
So we can,
How big's the court at Boswell? Is it 96, 92, 96?
oh, it's.
It's long, it's
Well,
big.
It's actually too long, I think, because it's two tennis courts long, or wide.
Yeah.
Plus the space in between and stuff like that. No, I'm gonna bet I bet it's over length.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody play full court
I
there.
think, no, we tried when I was younger, like 25, 30 years ago, and it would wear you out.
Yeah.
We just would have switched to half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen, like I said, I've never seen anybody play full court. there.
Yeah.
And that's what we anticipate happening here, is two half court games.
Yeah.
Very seldom you can get full court. There's Ramsey.
We're done now.
Yep,
I even ate your lunch.
yep.
We've completed signups for baseball, softball leagues, all that stuff. We're calling coaches and getting them, picking up their equipment and stuff like that. So they will start practicing as soon as next week with all the rec leagues and everything like that. And their games will start the week of May 18th. Soccer leagues started Monday and Tuesday nights. Drive by Nelson, it's packed with baseball games and soccer games going on out there.
I keep getting asked if it's the airport or the school or who.
The airport.
That was the airport. Is that correct? Ashplum cleared the fence
That
road?
cleared the fence road.
And then how nice does that look?
Everybody's been asking me, and I assumed I thought it was the airport, but yeah.
Yeah, it looks good back there.
It really looks nice.
Yeah.
And then tournaments, our tournament last weekend was rained out. We got one this weekend, we are at Nelson only. But then, starting next week, we hope to be Ashley Nelson, and it's the next 15 weekends, and they'll start getting bigger and bigger as we go and stuff. We've had probably 25-ish teams so far. They'll get to 60 by the 1st of May. Any questions on baseball, soccer, softball, t-ball?
How's competitive league going?
Competitive league, we're in our second week of it with coach pitch on Monday, 10U on Tuesday, and 12U on Thursday nights and stuff. Tonight's one of the first nights we get to use tomorrow, we have all 4 fields being used for Thursday nights. We have to schedule around the middle school games on some of the nights, so it's tricky when you got more teams than fields, but try to keep everybody in one location. But so it's all going well. Most of them are coming back to play. We do a spring and summer, so most of them plan on coming back for the summer session. So we'll be full.
Soccer's going on too. We've been playing, what, 2 weeks now?
I think so.
Started last Monday, right?
Yep.
Yep.
I heard that their sign up was more. How many more? Did I tell you that?
You told me, but I don't always remember the things you sent me.
I know. I don't always remember the things I say. They had more kids from the fall sign up, and it was pushing close to 350 in the numbers. But still we're struggling in getting coaches for the number of kids that they had.
Coaches is hard. We were probably 6 coaches short in baseball, softball leagues of who signed up. So then I start calling people that volunteered to be assistant coaches, and finally got them where everybody, but coaching's hard to get people sometimes.
It's a big commitment.
And a lot of people don't feel like they're qualified, or they have multiple kids, or
Well, and then there, I think also a comment that I had heard from people that were coaching for the first time we're unaware, like you said, they're coming for the equipment, they're coming for that is not a thing apparently at the soccer. Like then you have to come and they were having them, you have to get the goalie jerseys, you have to get, cones, they expect you to have this, they expect you to have all of these like particular things that they weren't prepared to have to also go and.
And that is probably the first question I get when I ask a coach if they'll coach is, well, I don't have any equipment. And we do provide enough helmets to have everybody on base, kid on deck. And most people do have their own helmets nowadays, but we do provide them
Catching
a
equipment,
set of catcher's
especially.
gear, a dozen baseballs, and a set of bases. That way they could practice in the grass if you need to. And then for like T-ball, we provide the tee and everything like that. And then they turn those back into us at the end of
Again,
the
I think just
season.
a compliment and a pat on having city league facilities that you have the equipment and the ability to provide those things for the people that are being willing to donate their time and efforts.
I don't know if it would make a difference for coaches or not, but I've thought the same thing for soccer about whether coaches could be provided with a basic, like, instruction guide. And clearly, you can't provide everything, but here's what a session could look like.
Yeah.
Make sure you do this. Just to give, if you're trying to talk people into coaching, that you've said, like, here's a guide. I know that can be a lot of work, but I've wondered if it would make a
Oh, I
difference for
understand that,
coaches.
and I do tell a lot of them, heck, I've coached for a lot of years, and I still go on YouTube and watch.
Yeah.
There's tons of good stuff on YouTube. We have in the past, as I was telling you, had coaches clinics with the baseball coach and stuff, which it is kind of hard when it's in their baseball season and stuff, but the previous baseball coach did do 2 back-to-back years coaches clinic for us where they could go and it's like 2 hours of just basic play catch this way and just, basic fundamentals that you could kind of incorporate from T-ball all the way up through 12U or whatever and stuff like that. And so that's something I'm hoping as the new coach gets more used to Lebanon, I can get him more involved as well with something like that.
Well, I think that it would be good in between the spring and the fall session of soccer. I think that probably needs just a reach out. Hey, how's it going? I heard you had a lot of kids. How are you managing? How are things? Could you use some help?
How do they attract coaches?
They put
Because their
it
signups are kind of already, so how do they?
in the same
In the same
awesome way,
fashion?
in the same fashion that they offer up the signups. It's just all done through that sole Facebook page. And then they put it out and say, hey,
As soon as their season's over, I'll reach out and we'll get I'll have 2 or 3 of them, we'll have a little meeting somewhere. And just have an overall discussion. See what-
it's a big program and it's obviously continuing to grow.
And a soccer coach could also, I think he's involved a little bit, or no, not involved, but he'd like to be, I think.
Hi.
Don't know,
I-
but
We have the #1 requested soccer coach sitting at this table right now, just so you know.
Ramsey?
Ramsey. Highly qualified.
Clearly a soccer aficionado.
Yeah.
I did have my first problem ever this year. In T-ball, I had 25 kids request the same coach.
Well, that's Neil.
And I was like,
That's
I called him, I was like, I've never had this many before. I was like, you can't have 25. I can only give you half and stuff, so.
They want
Well, I
a
might
Neil
have 12
coach,
mad
too.
parents that didn't get this certain coach.
I've had so many people come up and be like, I asked for Neil.
Because that is on our sign-up form, is which coach would you, and we try to,
They do
honor your
too.
request, but
Yeah.
when there's only 12 kids on a team, it's hard for 25 to get the, so at least the other 12 or so, they'll all be with, hopefully, their friends, because they wanted that coach.
Right.
but- Yes.
The word is out that Neil produces highly skilled 6-year-old soccer players, and they're all coming.
You're like the Bobby,
Yeah,
you're like the Bobby Knight of
yeah.
Bobby Knight.
You're
Throwing chairs,
You-
he's, you know, being really volatile, and,
up the
but
bleachers,
his
go out on
players
the
were
field.
really good.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Obviously, we're working on hiring concessions and started on lifeguards soon too. I think we've about got all of our lifeguards, or our concession attendants hired. We interviewed a couple seasonal maintenance people on Monday, and if everything goes right, 2 of them will start on Monday, so we'll have our full seasonal crew. We still have an opening of a full-time now, and potentially one coming up later too. So, we're gonna, plan is to have these 2 seasonal people work for a while. We really like both of them. So I think we're gonna let them work for 30, 60 days, and if we like one of those, then we're gonna probably try to roll them into a full-time position, and then we're not hiring an unknown.
Smart.
So that's kind of, that's the game plan. We'll see how they work out after they start, but, Ellie and I both like both of them, the 2 we chose, both very, very well.
Nice. Okay.
Okay, and then with Boswell Aquatic Center, I apologize, that didn't get, it was kind of a last-second ad. The guy from the company that does that called me and said that we needed to get put on the list, because the list was filling up if we wanted it done this fall.
Thank you.
Didn't realize we had to be 6 months in advance to get on the schedule. So I had an old bid from him, and we just got this bid the other day, so that's why it didn't get included. I updated it. It didn't change any prices or anything. It just has the new dates of when the work will be. We've got $80,000 budgeted for that project. I think the cost is 73 something, 73 and some change. There are obviously a couple different options, but option B is the best of the options. It allows us to make sure that all that gel coating is correct. If we just do the main surface, that still leaves all the bottom not properly protected. And then we'd be coming back in 3 or 4 or 5 years just to do the bottom again. Let's do it all at one time and be done with it until we have to address it again 12 or 15 years from now. And in today's world, with everything that's been going crazy on expenses and stuff like that, this bid has pretty much stayed right in that number. I think the very first time we talked about doing it 3 or 4 years ago, it was 60 something, so it's only gone up a little bit compared to what concrete and everything else has gone up. So I think it's a very fair bid. It is a cooperative bid, so the discounts that's entitled to that, I think you'll see that on the bottom of the sheet. I think there's a 7% or something like that discount off the top. And it definitely needs to be done. If you have any kids that go down, when they come down the slides, their backs get a little red from the bumps and the imperfections on the slide. While ours is a little uncomfortable, go down to Whitewater and go down their big slide. And after about 3 times down, I couldn't hardly walk. So we don't want ours to get that way.
What's the
I know
lift?
I'm old, but it was pretty rough surface.
What's the very last, the lift costs that are not included? Can be added
Oh,
upon
we have to
consent.
provide them a lift.
Oh,
We have to provide a
okay.
lift, yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah, we have
okay.
to provide the lift.
okay.
That way we can rent it locally and
Yeah.
they don't have to drive. Otherwise, they would want to drive it in or try to find one in a lift company where we have better access and better deals. That was, me and him talked about that, and that was just part of it.
This will get done in the fall of this year after
Yes,
the
sir.
season.
Yeah, that's why we need to do it now, though, so we can get on the list, be done in early September.
And it's already in the budget.
Yes, sir. That's all right. CIP, it's been in there for, actually, I think it's been in there for,
We moved it up, I think,
yeah, we moved,
last
yeah,
year.
it's been in for a couple years, but we moved it up.
Yeah.
It's just getting a little rough when you go down the surfaces, where the joints are, they just kind of eat on you a little bit. And that take, it wasn't that way when it was new, and it won't be that way when they're done.
But we budgeted for 80 and it's coming in at 74,
Yep.
so.
Okay. Any more discussion with the bid? If not, I'll take a motion.
I move we accept the bid.
Option B.
Option B.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did Neil motion?
Neil
Yeah.
motion, or John second.
Gideon,
Yes.
Plasmeyer,
Yes.
Shadle,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Wall.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Allen.
Okay, comments from the board, staff? Anybody have anything?
I got one or something. I just sent it
You
out.
just sent me?
Yeah, we've been talking about Placer, and we've been talking about utilizing the information. So, got with Elliot, he got me some data. I sent it to Lacey. Can you pull it up on the screens? You should have a PDF.
Is it on an email?
Before we get into what it is, basic data in from Placer to understand better, like how we can massage the data and understand what we can do with it. The data that we were given actually showed a little bit of a reduction in visits to the park, which was a little bit alarming, and I didn't want to make an example out of something that was negative to start. So we tried to figure out the best way, and I think this presentation, did you get it, Lacey?
Yeah, 1 second.
Sorry.
Because it's going to be on email, so I'm actually going to remove this so not everyone sees my email.
But basically, this kind of goes into what I think we can use the Placer for to change the perception or the questions that come up with why do we do things at the parks, where our opportunities are going forward. So some of the data is based on national averages and different things, but this should show you how we can take that data and what the potential and use the data and what we're currently doing to look at revenue streams for the parks and how those revenue streams impact the community. Following along? So as soon as she pulls this up, like I said, this was, Elliot, can you give a rundown of what the data kind of was?
It shows how many visitors, I think we did for the full year, didn't we?
We did, so there's 3 data sets. There was full year at Nelson and Atchley, and then the one set was a 1 week in June at Nelson.
Yep.
Right. So this gives you, and again, these were all just, how do we start using that system to see what we can pull from it? We can dive deeper in, and I'm happy to collaborate with you guys on what you think we should do, how we can sit down with Elliot and look at the back end of the system and develop some like checklists of what that data shows. But, yeah, and the key takeaway, without me talking too much, is this is showing how we can do and what the potential is like with real stats in the country. So budgeted line item, an expense, an obligation. That's where I feel like the community just says it, and that's what they are. We're moving in through these tournaments, through improvements, all of that, to move into an option where we can justify the requests that we're making as a board to the community. This is where we can start to tell our story of the park. So 114, Atchley Park, okay, so national economic impact of spectator sports tourism industry in 2024 is $114.4 billion industry, right? Go on to the next one. And again, I've not even rehearsed or really dove into this stuff, but I have, if that makes sense. Atchley Park, 3,500 plus Saturday visits. Nelson Park, they called Nelson the consistent anchor. Atchley is a little bit more of the event hub for the things. So 10,000 weekly visits on Atchley, or Nelson, 3,500. Go to the next one. So what they did, they looked here and they looked at, there's 24,000 on a day trip on the average. Can someone help me read this better and understand?
Behind you.
We're here.
All right. I have it on my phone. I just need some, it goes past, for me, it goes past, like Carrie and I talked, it goes past the actual stuff. It's, let's change the story and tell the impact of what we're doing. $24,000, that's if 120 families came to Lebanon for a day tournament, correct? Simple aspect of that. If they stay overnight, that number doubles. That's a $72,000 local impact for our tax base and our revenue, which is a direct thing of going down that rabbit hole, for lack of a better term, and saying, we want to be the driver of this. Our parks can do this for our community. Go on to the next one. So if you compound that, one tournament, 72,000, 10 is 720, 20 is $1.4 million impact to the revenue. And these are all potential numbers. These are looking at stats, understanding better. But as we go in, we can then take these stats and find finite, or as finite as possible, measurements with things that Placer can also add to that. Dwell time, how far they came from. We can better understand if they're overnight people, if they're not. We can look at the economic impact of doing two. But I think we said last park board, we're kind of becoming the go-to for the one day, which not a lot of other people are offering. So if we're offering one day, let's make one-day events. I've got some other things that I've shared with Doug, and then where it's showing ways we could drive additional things, kind of becoming more of that media destination park thing with sponsorships, banners, food trucks, more things that are in addition to what we're currently doing. So, and then the last one, again, this is more of looking at how we can, the ways we can do better, the ways we can keep more of those tournaments coming, which in turn keeps more money circulating through our revenue and our tax base. So I say all that to say, one, I'm not really good at that stuff, but I'm good at understanding how we can take those numbers and make it make sense to the average person. Because if we're going to continue expanding into some out-of-the-box areas that the general public doesn't understand, we need to have the ability to tell them why and help them understand that there's a method to the madness of what we're doing in the Parks Department. So, long story short, this is very basic, but it does show that we can take similar things and build out the plans and look at where we're losing options, I guess. Is that the right word? Carrie, can you help me at all? I'm on a soapbox here, and I don't really...
I just first want to tell Ramsey, thank you for taking the initiative totally on his own to start telling this. This is something we've been asking about, talking about for over a year now, that we've been wanting to do, needing to do. And so I really appreciated him, now that we have the proper access to the information. And I think it's great. And I'm really excited to see what you can pull from all this. But first, just thank you, Ramsey, for taking the initiative to try to start this, to kickstart it and get us rolling on it.
I like the data. I think we can build on it and get more out, but just like the tournaments and something, I'm kind of envisioning a did you know piece from communications from the city. Placer AI, we've got this data. We can, did you know, at one tournament, according to whatever the statistics, wherever they come from, one tournament can drive this much revenue, and just get that out. However we do it on social or within the Lebanon, City of Lebanon news leader, whatever that is that they
I think this is going to be a pivotal piece for the next 5 years in the discussions about what the Civic Center is going to be and needs to be, and how to shape those decisions and tell that story. So it's going to go way beyond.
Yeah, but this is a starting point.
It's a great starting point.
Did you know, and then you can build on it even to an event at the Civic Center, a gun show, how many phones ping it, and what they estimated.
I agree with what you're saying. My question would be, and this is where I need to better understand the dynamics of the organization as a whole, because, speaking freely, we can't wait, how does it work? If the Parks Department has a story they want to tell, do we wait on the city to approve that the Parks wants to share that story? So my counter to that, or my addition to that, would be, we have to step forward as a board and as a group and not wait, if we're allowed to do that, not wait and sit back and go, hey, communications, can you help set the narrative? I've used the argument before about the golf course. Like, it was frustrating for negative press of a golf course, and we all spend our time, and we know what we're building as a park board, and a new park was the seventh thing. Like, we as a park and as an entity have to take ownership of our story and the way we're presenting the data, if we're allowed to do that. Troy, can you, is there rules and regulations on that? Like,
You have, as a Parks Board, you have the authority to kind of promote and encourage the dissemination of information related to the parks. I would encourage you guys to be, because we've got a really good story to tell. And I know John and I've had a conversation about, at some point, do we go to the turf field conversation? Because turf field conversations lend themselves to multi-day tournaments, which lead themselves to hotel rooms. Lebanon is in short supply of hotel space. So again, using the parks as an economic engine to drive some of those community development initiatives, it's all part of that conversation. Having you guys front and center on that makes a lot of sense.
But as far as the actual release, press release, if there is one, and telling the story, putting it all together, you saying you want Park Board to do that, or would that flow through communication?
We can certainly help put it together, but it's one of those things, if the Park Board wants to do it and get it to, we can disseminate the information. It's however you guys want to do that. It just gets under the, with coming into communication, it gets onto the list of public safety, all the other issues that are going on in the city, the utilities. So if there's some interest in doing it from a Parks Board perspective, we could certainly be the dissemination mechanism.
We could start it.
Yes, we can get it out. Yes, that just makes it
That's-
work.
Derek could finish it.
Derek puts it all out.
Because talking about the golf course, we feel like there's been some burn, some rub about not going through communications on some of that, city communications on some of the communication coming from the course. So I wouldn't want to get too far out in front of ourselves on that and put the city, say something that the city doesn't really want us to say.
and I understand that, but like, take the golf course and take a brand-new park, for example. That was our moment to shine and get through the noise and explain to people that we've got this really new park, and it was based on us saving money and doing the right thing, and it helps stormwater. Like, rather than it be the seventh bullet point, the parks could step up, and that could be the parks Facebook post, instead of waiting for that. And that's no shade or slight on Derek and what they're doing, but like, we have to become, if we're going to lead in an industry or a option in a park, we got to lead across the park. We got to lead across it. So if we're doing these things and we're saving these money, and like we talked about last time, if it would have cost $320,000 to build the building because we had to call in so-and-so, but because we're smart and we engineered it ourselves and we bought the things that were already done and we saved $75,000, like, why are we waiting for somebody else to tell that story? That's what people want to read, and that's when you change their mind.
And that's what Troy's saying. If there's someone that takes the time to develop that story and put it together, kick it to Derek, proof it, disseminate it like Troy says, then it goes out from there, because if it's prepared for him already.
But I think it also, then if somebody prepared, it needs to be it's paid for. Like, we need to pay for that. That's not free. You know what I mean? That takes time. That takes some effort. And I think that it's worth it 100% to not be the forgotten middle child in the list of all of the things that are happening in this city. I mean, Doug had kind of gave a list to John and Elliot, was essentially saying the same thing a few months back. Hey, we have done some really amazing things. You need to talk about it. You need to shine yourself a little bit more. And here's a list of just what I remembered. And then this could have been the thing that was presented to city council in the workshop I forget what you call it, where you all sit at the tables and stuff, and then go, look, city councilman, look what this actually did and generated, and they would go, oh, wow. But I 100% get on board with the idea of like, it's not Derek's sole responsibility to be our cheerleader and champion. We have to do it ourselves, and that if that comes with paying some fee out to have it, that, then I think that is money well spent and something to look
That
at.
is something that we need to look at when we hire an employee in the future. That needs to be one of their roles, is to be able to do some of that marketing and talking points, because while I agree.
I don't think, I'm thinking that you've got the data, you have the ability to pull all the data, that's their piece of it.
Right.
But to make it the shiny penny, I think it's worth paying the person
Like a
that actually
marketer.
knows how to
Let
do
me-
that.
well,
A lot of the big cities have their own marketer for the park. I've said in
Get it.
social media stuff, I'm talking the
Let me-
Kansas cities and stuff, but they have.
Let me back it up,
Just
though,
as part
to help
marketing.
solidify what you're talking about and make sure I'm understanding. Like, Facebook, obviously, just, we'll talk Facebook. Like, is the chain of command go, Elliot, I have an idea I want to put on Facebook. Do you have to get approvals to put that? As
I
simple
right
as-
now post, I've never asked for approval, I guess. I have access to our Facebook page and Derek does and stuff. We're both administrators, but I mean, when I post something, I just post
Right,
it and
so,
stuff, you know.
so that's where, if we started generating something that made sense on a consistent basis, that started the process of telling the story, or highlighted in a nice way, where you could do some simple upfront, affordable options, where you said, hey, let's generate a portfolio or some assets for our park system that will tell the story, whether that's photo, video, anybody doing it, doesn't matter who does it, but where then you could say, hey, man, now we have this cool video of Nelson Park on a busy Saturday, and then we could generate this. Did you know this brings potentially this amount of people? It's super simple stuff that would start to change the mindset of, like, going back to the Civic Center. Like, there was a conversation on social media that was complaining about the Civic Center, and they're talking about things that happened 30 years ago when it was built, and they're mad that we're lying to them now, and we don't have any data to show that who was right or wrong. I don't remember how it was passed, but like, we should have data and talking points to go forward, to go, sorry that happened, if that's the answer we're saying, or it's, but did you know that because we have these events, it fills hotels? And if we're filling hotels, we get more hotels, we get bigger events. But like, the general public is so uneducated to the inner workings of all of the organizations within the city, and we're doing better with, like, the thing, I'm on a soapbox now, sorry, but like, I'm watching this all unfold and seeing that there's so many opportunities to educate.
Guys, I think this has gotten beyond just normal comments. It needs to be put on the discussion post for next week.
Lacey?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
We're getting, and not, you didn't do anything wrong. It's just gotten outside of the general comments part of the discussion. When a general comment takes this length of time and this in-depth and postings and stuff like that, we have to, I think that needs to
Let
be
me
on
add,
the
let me add one
agenda.
point. We've known Derek has been overwhelmed about the need, so his staff is doubling in about a week. So we're gonna bring somebody in that is supposed to be focused on social media. This is a great opportunity for the Parks Board to start feeding additional capacity so that Elliot doesn't have to do social media posts, Derek doesn't have to do social media posts. I'm after Derek to do a video of all of the park accomplishments that could be cut into some, quick little, that we could post showing, here's the improvements at Ashley Park, that a lot of people may not know what's going on. Here's what we've done at Gasconade, here's what we've done. And that list we went through I'm on him to build a little video that could be incorporated into state of the city, some of that stuff going forward. So there's no shortage of work, so we are adding additional, so I would challenge the board, let's fill up our staff, let's fill up our time with stuff that we can get information out.
Great.
Lebanon's parks are.
I was just happened to be on the Parks Department Facebook as we were having that conversation and noticed that John Shelton was honored with an award. I don't know if everybody saw that, so just comment to say congratulations on your award, John. Thanks for your work.
But Ramsey, everything you've said is great points. We definitely need to work on this, but I think it needs to be in our agenda on our discussion more than, we're getting way complex for just open discussion, I'm sorry.
So who does that?
We'll put it on the agenda next month.
What does the agenda look like?
Like this.
No, I understand that, but like, what does it look like? Like, what is the conversation? What can we prepare to have for that conversation?
Discuss how you guys will use Placer AI, what your guys' ideas are for it.
I think you're asking, what are the marching orders?
Going over
Yeah,
this,
like,
but
what do we need to prepare to have to be able to show that this matters and this could make a difference?
Well, I mean,
in
you
the-
can just discuss your ideas for
Okay.
Or the
what
same,
your
or the
post
same,
and all
the
that.
same kind of thing. Give us a yell and we'll figure it out. We'll get something on it.
Okay. Anything else? We'll call it adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Critical public asset. Let's.
So I got boxes.